Shalom, shalom. This is Bill coming to you live from the Biblical Lifestyle Center in Texarkana, USA. It's another beautiful Sabbath morning, and so good Sabbath to you all. Thank you for joining me and letting me spend a little time with you around your Shabbat table, in your Shabbat group, if at all possible. On this, the Sabbath of Parsha Bo. This is the 15th of the 54 Parshot of Torah, and we are getting into the action big time. So get ready for Walking in the Light, which is our series for the year from creation 5785. Walking in the Light, we call it, and then the subheading is Discovering the Secret Wisdom Encoded Within Torah's Timeless Stories. Torah is a great storybook. It is a true storybook. It is essentially a life manual for humanity on earth. It is a program, a protocol, a plan for the creator of the universe to restore creation to its original intended state of beauty, fruitfulness, shalom, and harmonious inner working, like Eden, and in the process to redeem mankind, bloodline by bloodline, household by household, individual by individual, as many as will come to the sound of his beautiful voice. So join me now. Let me know where you are, who you are, and any questions, comments you may have. I look forward to spending the next few minutes with you here as we walk in the light. As we've said, this is the week of Parsha Bo. Parsha Bo is Exodus 10:1 through Exodus 13:16. It's about 3 chapters, more or less, 10, 11, 12, 13, 4 chapters, more or less, of the Torah, and it's at a very critical stage. And I call this particular Parsha the chronicle of the final stages of great nation birthing labor. A great nation is about to be born. It was prophesied to Abraham way back in Genesis 12. The Holy One appeared to Abraham, spoke to Abraham, and said as he called him, I will make of you a great nation. Then 3 chapters later in Genesis 15, the Holy One returned to this theme after making the promises to go to tie to a particular land in the Middle East, the land known as Israel. He began to reiterate that point about the great nation. He says, your seed will be oppressed and foreigners in a strange land for 400 years, more or less, as we could say. And they will come out, and I will bring them out. And this is where the great nation is born, and that's what's happening. We're just fulfilling the prophecy of Genesis 15, as we happen this week will be the time the great nation descended from Abraham's seed will indeed emerge, be birthed into the earth, and begin to find out why it's here and what marks it. It's that nation apart from other nations that are born upon the earth. So, if we go on, what does Bo mean? Bo is an interesting Hebrew phrase, a Hebrew word, bet aleph, and it's kind of the opposite of av, which is father. It's going out from the father, but it's also going with the father. And so Bo, the best English way to rephrase it, I think, would be come with. Bo, come with, not go. It involves movement, but it's really about a joint effort between the creator, the one who's saying Bo, and the one who is responding to that instruction, Bo. And so I would have translated, at least to think about it in terms of the Holy One asking us to come with him. He's going to start by asking Moshe to come with him, Moshe as his representative and as our representative as well. And it's going to broaden and macro ties. That's a word I think I just made up. Macro ties. To all of Bnei Israel as the great nation comes forth. Bo, come with. So, come with me now. Come with the creator of the universe now. Come with him and let's see what he's up to. Let's see what the potential and the possibilities of human life are. Let's see what his plan to restore creation to its original Edenic state of beauty and fruitfulness and shalom will look like in real time, and how it will develop over a period of generations and centuries and millennia. And let's see what this plan to redeem humankind as a species, bloodline by bloodline, will look like. How will it get beyond the seed of Abraham to all the bloodlines and all the peoples of the earth, of the planet? Come with me now. Bo, come with the creator of the universe now. And let's go to the harvest, the first of the Holy One's great harvest of souls, the great prototypical harvest of souls that comes forth from the stories of Torah that we read in Exodus. See, this is a season of great nation birthing contractions. We're going to find out why there is going to be a great nation and what the great nation is supposed to do, what makes it great over the course of the rest of Torah. But right now we just know that a great nation is coming forth as the Holy One prophesied. And this is the season of the great nation birthing contractions. There is, with every birthing process, one of the things that has to happen for the birth to take place usually is a urge to push to arise in the one who's giving birth, the mother. In most situations, obviously I'm talking about some metaphorical situations as well, but in the natural human context, there must be a development of an urge in the woman, in the mother, in the birthing mother, to push. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to see it metaphorically happen with Pharaoh and with the people of Egypt. And they're going to say, get this baby, get this great nation baby out of me. And how can we get you out? And I'll push. So the push is going to take place. And then the push ties into the theme of Bo, which is come with. We are going to come with the Holy One as we go. So this season of great nation birthing contractions that we have been experiencing is about to enter its critical final stages, and the urge to push is about to arise. And with the urge to push on the part of the mothering metaphor in this situation, which is Egypt and Pharaoh and his household, we're going to see a corresponding urge or impetus to prep and to brace ourselves in the people who are being birthed, the great nation. We're going to see that, I forget, by packing up matzah and storing up matzah to take with us. It's going to be an interesting phenomenon that the two correspond. But this is a great symphony, we're being told. This is a great epic drama we're seeing unfold, an opera being unfolding before us. And the great redemption symphony and opera is building up in this parsha, and these conversations we'll be having today, to a crescendo. Now, let me tell you, it's a preliminary crescendo. It is a serious, powerful crescendo, and we could stop in awe whenever it's over. Oh, but we're not finished yet. The grand crescendo is years and decades and centuries and millennia ahead. So what's going to happen this week? What's going to be the prototype? What's going to develop the urge to push? And on our part, the urge to prep. Well, in a rage, what's going to happen is Pharaoh is about to order us out of Egypt. It will be a decree of expulsion. It'll have three verbs in it. Kumu, get up and go. Zeu, depart from here. Lechu, start walking. This is no gentle, let them go, it's okay, they're fine, there's no gentleness, this is the urge to push. Kumu, Zeu, Lechu. This will be Pharaoh's decree. At long last, with this decree, when we respond to it, if we respond to it, we will be free. We will be free from that maniac who sits on that throne in Pharaoh's palace. We will be free from his manipulative ways. We will be free from his narcissism. We will be free from the dark occult ways of the Egyptian people, the westernmost tower of the raging nations. We will be free, and free sounds good. Sounds good to our pseudo-intellect, like justice or mercy or some things like that. Free sounds so good to our pseudo-intellect. But what does it mean in real time? What does it import? Free to go where? Free to do what? Free to become who? We're into the realm of the issues of who is the great nation and what is the purpose of the great nation being birthed. So what we're going to find in this parsha is that accompanied by a mixed multitude of disaffected souls from every nation and every tribe and every tongue on the earth, all those who have been forced into slavery in Egypt along with the Hebrew people, and who have been drawn by the allure of the wealthiest nation on the earth at the time, all those who are now disaffected from that will come with us. We will be surprised. Look who's beside us, walking out of Egypt with us, being born at the same time we are, and we'll find out that we have more in common with them than we have that's difference and separates and distinguishes us from them. A mixed multitude will be engrafted into us at this stage. They will all be people who have, like us, had all of Western culture and its occult ways, or Eastern culture and its occult ways that we can stomach. So all of us will bow, we will come with the Creator of the universe, and oh, what experiences, what adventures await us. What a calling, what a mission, what a purpose, what a destiny awaits us as we bow, as we come with. You see, we are not just going to be escaping a cruel despot or fleeing a dying evil empire, an empire that's finally receiving the quid pro quo for what it's done, the empire that's finally reaping the harvest of what it's sowed. We're not just fleeing that empire. We're not just escaping the tyrant at its head. We are simultaneously embarking on the greatest adventure of human potential that will ever be told or seen. We are embarking on the task, the privilege, the honor of co-laboring with the Creator of the universe to put Earth's ecosystem back in balance, back in order, back into alignment with the Hashemayim in the heavens realm above, where we can actually say, as Yeshua taught us to pray, may your kingdom come and may your will be done on earth, at its realm, as it is in Hashemayim, in the heavens realm. So bow is not about a direction of travel as much as it is a issue of who you're with. Personal growth, maturity, and self-actualization are all tied up in bow, but it's more than that. It's acknowledging the withness and the covenant calling of someone higher and greater than yourself, someone majestic and who has a bigger vision and a bigger plan. Your overwatch, we have heavenly overwatch by a very beautiful, wonderful, kind, and a creative persona sits on our throne in heaven. And so this idea of bow and withness is going to be important. If we're not with him, what we do matters very little. It can actually make things worse. So we're going to volunteer for co-laboring assignments and deployments and covenant relationship building and marketing adventures. Arise. Listeners, hearers, all those who have tuned in to me this morning. As Kumul, as the decree, the angry decree of Pharaoh comes out, mine is a whole lot less angry, no anger at all. What I'm saying is, it's time for you also to arise. Whatever Pharaoh may think, it's time for you to arise. Whatever the leaders of the West may think, it's time for you to arise. Whatever the leaders of the East may think, it's time for you. Whatever the philosophies, the ideologies, the political systems of the world, or the ethnic groups of the world tell you, now it's time to arise. Arise, you Yosephian dreamers, you dreamers like unto Joseph. Who is ready to break free? Are you ready to break free? Free of the bindings? Are you ready to come with the Creator of the universe on the great adventure? Are you ready to put on the clothing, the garments of the heavenlies? Put on shalom. Put on joy, simcha. To put on loving kindness and mercy. To put on forbearance and self-control. To put on forgiveness. Are you willing to put away the things of the raging nations? Rage and anger and angst and irritation and provocation and offense and outrage and vengeance and lust and materialistic vent. Are you ready to lay those things aside? All you Yosephian dreamers, awaken, arise, and come with. Alas, Many will not. Many, hearing the sound of my voice, will stick with religion or with politics or with ideology or with ethnicity as their main focus. There will be many who are left behind. The sages of Israel, in one of the series of Midrashim, talk about the fact that 4/5, 80% of those who were of Hebrew lineage stayed in Egypt. They just couldn't get up and go. They wouldn't get up and go. They couldn't imagine. They couldn't come with. They couldn't trust the one that called them to come with. They didn't have the urge to prep, and they didn't respond to the urge to push in the nations. So alas, many will stay behind, in shock, stuck in inertia, clinging to what is familiar, choosing the chains and the perverse ways of the enemy they know rather than the possibilities and the potential of the promise they have never known. Well, the great nation, the Holy One, promised that he was going to bring forth from the seed of Abraham is going to emerge today. Will you be with them? It's going to emerge from the incubation chamber of Egypt, and it's going to happen exactly the way the Holy One told Abraham it would back in Genesis 15. Promises made, promises kept. But what is the purpose and the import of it all? Is it just redemption? Is it just salvation? Is it just a prototype, as some people would have you say, a type and shadow of a salvation to come? Or is this part of the Creator's essential plan? What is the purpose and import of all that we're going to read in Parshat Bo? Well, stay tuned. All will be revealed in proper time. Let us do our call to worship, and we'll move forward from here. The call to worship is the Baruch. It is the blessing that is read before reading from the Torah. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amin v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten ha'torah. Amen. Now may you open our eyes, O Holy One, that we may see wondrous things in your Torah. For we are just strangers in this earth. So do not hide your instructions from us. And now, beloved sons and daughters of the Most High, those who respond to the come with call of the Creator, gather round, because it's story time again. Now last week, as we ended off our story last week, when Pharaoh saw that the rain and the hail and the thunder of the seventh of the otot, of the great signs of the Creator of the universe, the great contractions that were allowing the reaping of what Egypt had been sowing for the past several centuries, when Pharaoh saw that the rain and the hail and the thunder of the glorious hail were completed, he added to his harvest of transgressions. And he and his servants put great weight and glory on their own hearts. This is part of the hardening of the hearts that isn't usually talked about. This is what they did to themselves. They made their hearts hard. And with the strengthened heart, with a heart that was made stronger by the Holy One, allowed to become strong for purposes that will glorify him, Pharaoh did not send out Israel, even though he had said he would. And it happened just as the Holy One had said and told Moshe that it would. Now this week, we start with the Parsha of Bo. And here are the opening words in Hebrew, and I'll read them first in Hebrew, and then I'll give you the best English translation I can have to begin this parsha. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, and the Holy One spoke to Moshe. These are the words of the Creator of the universe. They should be read in your book or in your mind, because these are the words of the Creator himself. And here's what he says. Bo, come with. Et Pharaoh, to Pharaoh. Come with. To Pharaoh. Ki ani hikbadeti et libo, and I have made his heart now heavy with self-importance. Et lev avodav, and also the hearts of his servants. Lema'an ti o arotai. Lama'an shiti otatai ele bekirbo, in order that I may demonstrate my signs before them. Uma'an tesaper, and in order that you may tell, may recite, be'ozne bincha uven bincha, in the ears of your sons and children and your children's children, et asher hid'alti b'Mitzrayim, the mighty things that I did unto Egypt. So, Egypt. Why did it all start with Egypt? What does Egypt, in Hebrew it's Mitzrayim. What does Mitzrayim mean? This country is not ever known as Egypt in the Torah. It's called Mitzrayim in the Hebrew words. So Mitzrayim is a Hebrew word that, as we have talked about in previous, it means tight straits, narrow, compressed straits. Things that, and people and places that put another one or someone else in a limited movement phase, where they can't really move, where they're constricted, where they're compressed, where they're restricted and under pressure and required to exercise great effort, energy just to live, and then to be able to persevere and to accomplish anything and to navigate the straits. It's going to require not only personal skill and wisdom and attunement to the situation and consciousness and awareness of your situation, but also divine overwatch and involvement. So the term Mitzrayim accurately describes the ancient nation of Egypt, because Egypt in those days was a realm of bondage for all peoples, not just for the Hebrew peoples. It was even a realm of bondage for the Egyptians themselves, much less all the people from Africa, from Asia, from Europe, the different continents that had come to Egypt because of the great blessing that Joseph's wise decrees and his preparations for the great famine of years ago had made Egypt the breadbasket of the world. So all the nations came to Egypt, but what happened when they got there? As it became a realm of bondage for all peoples in every sense. Bondage at every sense and every level. Physical bondage, mental bondage, emotional bondage, and of course spiritual bondage. That's what Mizraim mean. And that's why we have to come out of that, because that's the epitome of all the raging nations, at the heart and the basis of all the raging nations, which all descend from the mindset of the Tower of Babel people and Nimrod, their founder. And from all this, the kernel of it all is found in this Mitzrayim concept. All the raging nations are alike. They all have Mitzrayim as their basis. So he says, the reason we're doing this is that you may tell in the hearing of your children and your children's children, my Allah, the things I wrought, the things I did and raised up in Mitzrayim. This story that we're about to read in this Parshat Bo, the events of the birthing of the great nation, the events that led to the urge on the part of Egypt and Pharaoh to push the people out, and the events that led to the urge of the people to prep by preparing matzah and putting in matzah in their bags and pack in saddlebags. This is how we become a people. This is how we become a nation, that you may tell in the hearing of your son and your son's sons the things that were wrought in Egypt. This is what we are supposed to tell. This is our story. This is our song. We are a people that stands apart from the nations. We model the ways of the Holy One. We have a purpose. We are to model the ways of the Holy One. We are to align with heaven and receive its downdraft and its wisdom and its insight and its instructions for life on earth. We are to model the ways of the Holy One to the world and introduce his grand redemptive plan and draw, like a light draws the bugs or the insects from the environment. We are to be that light that draws the nations, those who are hungry, those who are willing, those who are disaffected by the Western or the Eastern empires doing their evil things, to draw them into the light. The outline of our Parsha. What will we study in Parsha Bo? Well, first, there's going to be a mood change and a focus shift. We're going to be given a calendar. We're going to be given an idea that we're going to get a little serious with. There's a deadline here. We're in the springtime early springtime, and as the barley is about to come into up and be growing up, we're at a time change here, and there's a new growth season in part, and the Holy One's going to begin to create that urge to push with subclimactic signs, wonders. Some will call them plagues. If you're an Egyptian, you think of them as plagues. If you're a Hebrew, you think of them as wonders and signs on your behalf to bring about the urge to push on this part of Egypt. And what will they be? The first two of which will be a total of the 8th and the 9th as the grand total, because we already had 7 before we started this parsha. The 8th will be the Arba'im, the locust, the plague of the locust. And the 9th will be the plague of the darkness, the Chosek, the primeval darkness with no lights whatsoever, no inability to see, inability to make a fire, inability to move, freezing, paralyzing darkness for 3 days. These will be the 2 subclimatic oaths, 8 and 9 in your grand total. And then there will be the climatic oath, the Makah, the death of the firstborn. And then the Holy One's going to teach us the first thing about our new great nation is that we're going to have our own series of calendaring issues. We're going to align our time management. We're going to synchronize our watches with heaven, in other words. Heaven has a different way of looking at time on earth than the raging nations do. Babylon's had its raging nations way. It uses it had always traditionally used the vernal equinox as the basis for its calendar, when it started its year and how it calculated when its festivals were, the Babylonian pagan festivals. Egypt used a little different calendar. It used the rising of Sirius or Isis in the star in the east in mid June to early July every year. That was the basis of the beginning of their calendar. All nations have their own calendar, how they do it. Well, we're going to have our own based upon what the Holy One tells us. We're going to be a people set apart with a calendar that aligns with the calendar of the heavens. We are going to be synchronized in our watches if we listen to the Holy One. So he's going to give us this calendar issue, and he's going to talk about 2 potential opt-in or opt-out opportunities in the first month, in the first moon cycle. He's going to give us an opt-in to the departure methodology, to the calling of the Holy One on the 10th day. Actually, the 10th day will be the day we have to choose. Will we select and set aside a lamb? And then again, we'll have the 10th through the 14th, we have obligations, mitzvot, instructions as to what to do. Then we have to see, are we in this plan? Are we coming with the Holy One or are we not? The days 10 through 13 all consist of some activity on our part, taking care of, selecting and then taking care of, carefully guarding the lamb. And then the 14th through the 21st are new days, and the days of matzah, days of maror, days of unleavened bread, as it were, and days of bitter herbs, as it were, and not eating that which is set or that which is leavened, or that which of the leavening process, which is chametz. We're not to do those things. For days 10 through 13 is opt-out number 1, and days 14 through 21 of this first moon cycle are opt-out number 2. And then we're going to have the Great Nation Departure Narrative. The Great Nation Departure Narrative beginning in chapter 12, verse 31. We're going to have, first of all, the repetition or the announcement of the expulsion decree by Pharaoh. Kumu, Se'u, Lehu, get up, arise, depart, get out of here, Lehu, start walking. The urge to prep will be expressed, discussed, and what it looks like in our context. All we can do is grind up some grain. Don't let it rise. Take it and put it in a sack or a knapsack or a saddlebag, and get ready to go. An urge to prep that goes with the Egypt's urge to push. And then we're going to have the parting gifts of the Egyptians. Not just will Pharaoh feel this urge to push and give a decree. The Egyptians will shower us with gold and silver. Go, get out, go. It will be favor, but it will be a favor that has a tinge of sorrow to it and a tinge of fear to it. And then we'll have the narrative of the first leg of our journey. I journeyed from Ramses to Sukkot. And then we're going to have the discussion of the engrafting of the mixed multitude. And a great mixed multitude came with them, along with the sons and daughters of Israel, the seed of Abraham. Then we're going to have a tender, bittersweet retrospective, a last look around, a bookend, closing the book on the Egyptian experience. We're going to look at the store cities and walk through them and say goodbye. We're going to say 430 years to the date from the date we arrived. On this very day, we will leave. And we have transitioned during that period of time from 70 Shemot, 70 individuals with personalities, to another category, to Zabaoth, to the hosts of the Creator of the universe, those who will come with. And then the Holy One is going to give us protocols to commemorate, reenact, and remember this event and pass that remembrance on to our children and our children's children forever, a covenant forever. This is going to be important that we remember what to do and what to say when our children ask us what this is all about. Protocols for our future Passover celebrations, our Pesach, the night of Pesach, and also for the 7 days of unleavened bread, and also for the special reverence we hold for the firstborn child of the mother's wombs. Mitzvah will be given regarding the firstborn redemption. And we will be told that all these things, the protocols for the future Passover, the mitzvah of the firstborn redemption will be for us as a sign on our hands, something that is with us at all times and is engaged in everything we do. It's part of everything we do. And also, Zatot, Fot, Bain, and Akim, and it was as frontlets before our eyes, as goggles or as blinders before our eyes, where we only focus on, and we maintain our primary focus at least on the plan of the Holy One. This is going to be the great departure. This is going to be the birthing of the great nation of Bnei Israel. What's next on our agenda after we leave Egypt? We're going to go from private, hidden, oppressed, to public, out front and center stage, and ready. We're going to take the covenant calling from its initial micro level of individual and family that we talked about in the book of Genesis to its intended macro level of every nation, tribe, and tongue. Yes, we will be deployed to Israel first, but then we will be sent out to all the nations. Yes, sometimes it'll look like we're taken captive. Sometimes it will look as if we have been cast off forever. But that's not the case. What's going to happen is we're being sent out to be as light to the nations and as salt to the earth. It's all about the nations being restored, humanity being redeemed, and creation being restored to its Edenic state. What will it take to make us leave? What will it take to make the Pharaoh and the Egyptian people to loosen their death grip and their chokehold on us? What will it take in America? What will it take in Russia? What will it take in South Africa? What will it take in New Zealand? What will it take in the Philippines to make the powers that be and the nations that rage and the people that imagine their vain thing loosen their death grip and get the urge to push and loosen the chokehold on us and our family? What will it take to make us go with them, to get out, to break the Mitzrayim connection, to break the intimidation, to break the affection we have for the things of Mitzrayim and the nations? What do you think it will take for you? What do you think it will take for others? What do you think it will take for people of other nations and ethnicities and cultures who haven't had the cultural experience that we have had and the histories of Abraham and Yitzhak and Yaakov and Joseph that we have had? What will it take for other people, strangers, foreigners, people of other flocks to come and come with us, to come with those of us who are descended physically from Abraham? What will cause them to make them want to do the same? Well, we could talk for a while about the plague of the locusts, but all that did was divide Pharaoh's house and begin to elicit counter proposals and say, yes, men can go to negotiate. Pharaoh began to negotiate with us. The men can go, but the women and the children have to stay. But then we could also talk about the oath of the darkness. But all that did was basically loosen the hold. They haven't let us go yet. The one thing that must take place, the final oath, is Maka Bekora, death of the firstborn. So let's talk about what's going to happen. I want to, as we do so, though, discuss that we're going to shift from just knowing the Holy One and just being awed by his power and his work on our behalf to surrendering to him and serving him and going with him. And the process by which we know this has taken place is the process of developing mitzvot. Mitzvot, the joinder. Mitzvah is often translated as commandments in English because they don't really understand. The English people can't really fathom the idea that when someone is totally enamored with and surrendered in heart and will to and join their hearts with someone else, they want to be with them doing what they are doing. They want to know what the other one expects of them, what they want of them, what they're here for. Well, and then they follow and they believe and trust in those things, and they will actually begin to engage in mitzvot, the things where we join hands with the Holy One, go with the Holy One. Mitzvot and go are two words that go together. We go with the Holy One, we will do what he does. And what he does, what he tells us to do, are mitzvot, are instructions, are joining, work together with me, come with me, instructions. See, a kingdom is what we're building. A nation, a great nation is going to be a great kingdom. And this great kingdom, any great kingdom, is founded upon a king's decrees and his personality being manifested and being reflected by other people, about the king's instructions, about the king's initiatives, about the king's priorities, about the king's protocols of court, learning how to behave yourself and conduct yourself in order to make approach to the courts, to the king and the throne. Also the rules of engagement with the peoples and with the nations, and also timing, issues of timing. For us, our kingdom association, our great nation identity starts with synchronizing our watches with his. That's why the first mitzvah mentioned in the Torah, the first thing that we're supposed to do to actually prove that we have actually joined hands with the Holy One, or walking with him, and we're coming with him. It isn't what makes us come with him. It isn't what gets us privileged to come with him. It just proves that we're ready to go with him. That's synchronizing our watches. That's the 12:1, 12:2 of Exodus, where it tells us that this will be the beginning of months. And this will be our time reckoning, calendaring protocols will differ from the rest of the world. We will follow time reckoning and calendaring protocols as outlined by the Holy One himself, designed to align the realms of the heavens with the realms of the earth realms of the earth with the realms of the heavens. Critical component of mission success. If we're going to accomplish on earth what we're called to accomplish, the great redemption and the great restoration, then we must be synchronized with the source and the overwatch, which is heaven. So the Holy One begins in Exodus 12. He says, HaKodesh Hazeh, this moon cycle, and we're talking in context of what is now called Aviv or Nisan, the spring when the barley is ripe in the field. This moon cycle, HaKodesh Hazeh, will be Rosh Hadashim, the head of the new renewals of the moon for you plural. It will be Rishon, the first, the shaking out of all the moon cycles of the annual Earth orbit of the sun cycle. That is where this will be the head of the moons. So we can compare these to this calendar of the Babylonians, which was based upon the spring equinox, the vernal equinox. We can compare it to the calendar of the Egyptian peoples, the Western world, which was based upon the rising of Sirius, Isis, the floodwaters of the Nile coming up in mid-June, July. We can say this is a new calendar, a calendar that aligns with the heavens. The heavens looks at earth and views it through the lens of this day, of the creation of the great nation of Israel, this month, this moon cycle, when the creation of the great nation, the birthing of the great nation took place, the release of the grand plan, the implementation, the inauguration of the grand plan took place in this cycle. So it's just important to us that we base everything based upon that from this point forward. The moon cycle of ripening ears of barley. The subject matter with which Bo will conclude, on the other hand, will be the institution of the first of the joinder festivals, the joinder moments, the times of divine appointment when we come together with the Creator of the universe and synchronize not just our watches, but also meld our hearts into His and surrender our wills to His. This is Hag HaMatzah, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. This will be instituted, and how we're to do it, and when we're to do it, and why we're to do it, and how long we're to do this joinder, this reconnection, realignment with the Holy One every spring, every barley harvest, every Hag HaMatzah. And then we're going to see that there are instructions given as to how we're to celebrate that, and how we're going to do it both the first year in Egypt, and also every year thereafter, including the year that's coming. These instructions are given to us, and we read them this time of year so that we'll be ready for what's going to happen in just a few months, just a few weeks actually. We'll be celebrating Hag HaMatzah. It's very important that we do so. This is a focus. It reconnects us to the grand plan, resynchronizes us to the timing of the Creator of the universe. This is not a party. This is not a holiday. That's not what the Moedim, that's not what the festivals of the Holy One are. They're not parties. They're not holidays. What they are is divine appointments with the Creator of the universe to synchronize, to harmonize with the Creator and get His plan, to get His instructions. Well, we're going to also have the detail of what happened that first Erev Pesach, that first night of unleavened bread, that first night, and then when there was the death of the firstborn, and how Pharaoh ordered us out with the three declarations: Kumu, Zehu, Tereku, go, get out. The narrative then will follow of our grand departure. We don't leave at Pharaoh's command. We leave at our instruction from the Holy One. So we spend the night. He tells us to get out, go depart, but we stay overnight. We arise in the morning and we leave, because we're told by the Holy One not to go out of your houses during the night. But we have the narrative of the grand departure, and then he gives us instructions, mitzvot, regarding how to celebrate, observe, reenact future Pesachs, the anniversaries of this event, to teach our children about them, to teach the world about the ways of the Holy One. Then we're going to have special status to be afforded the Bechorah, the firstborn, and we're going to learn that that's to be a way we serve the Holy One by recognizing what He did for the firstborn. He did for our firstborn by giving us the sign, the oath of the blood on the doorposts and the lintels of the houses. Well, beloved, it's going to be quite a discussion. I hope you have around your Shabbat tables today, or around your home groups, or your fellowships that you go to. Remember this, though. The Holy One is calling to you, and He is saying, come with. Who will go, and who will not? Who will opt in to the grand plan of the Creator of the universe for redemption and restoration? Who will opt in to the great adventure, and who will not? It's up to you. The calling has been made. The call has been laid. The platform has been made. Are you ready? Let's go. Let's go with. Shabbat Shalom, and I'll see you next week.